In this video, we're going to look at how to control the app settings and the UI settings for your Platformly account. The reason why we created this functionality was because different people require different sizes and prefer different looks. The way you'll access this is from an admin account, you go to your profile and then the UI settings tab. Now from here, you'll be able to see all the different functionality that you can change. So for example, you can change from the default font of Karbon Regular to one of these other fonts if you prefer them. And you can change the global font size, so for all the fonts around the site. From anywhere from default, you can make it smaller, larger, or even larger. And another change that we've put in here for a big reason was the table font size. So you can see here, this is the default size. And if I switch it over to large, then you'll see that it becomes larger here. So if we were, for example, to go to a table and we were to refresh this, you'll notice that now all the fonts in the table are a lot bigger and makes it easier to see. And if you want to go even larger, you can. I'm going to leave it on large for my personal choice. In our new sales CRM, where you can create deals and use the Kanban boards with the deal pipeline, this is the default look, but you also have the option to change it to a white look. The other options here is the Show Walkthrough button. At the bottom of pages that have walkthroughs, you'll see a button at the bottom saying Launch Walkthrough. Once you know how to use the system, if you choose to disable this, then that will be hidden. And this Create button is these three dots in the bottom right. When you're on a project, so you see now I'm in the test project, Project X, I'll see these three dots on the bottom right of all the pages in app. If you don't see it, it's because you're on all projects and you should switch to a project. Clicking that allows you to shortcut around the site from the project overview to creating links, contacts, segments, drafting emails or sending emails and SMSs straight away, and importing your data. So this shortcut menu is very handy and helpful, but if you happen to not want it there, you can disable it by pressing that and then it's gone. Okay. And then we have action buttons around the site. It used to be in this style here, the more circular style, but we've switched it to this slightly more square style. If you preferred the old view, you can just simply do that. I'm going to leave it in the new view. Now the color palette, this is what makes one of the biggest differences to the actual user interface look and feel. So the default is this blue color here, and you can see that it's representative on hover, you can see it on the icons, and in the drop-down hover and around on the action menus. Now you can go anywhere from lighter up to the Chrome setting, for example. So if we wanted Chrome, we can click there. And you can see how it now looks, and you can see the hover over effects. If I was to come to the table here, we're also going to see that this then becomes Chrome too. So I'll simply refresh that. You'll see all the loading functions are now in the Chrome color. All the action buttons are in the Chrome color. Everything becomes a lot darker into this Chrome color. Okay. And if we go back, we can then switch it and let's try, for example, a green. And you'll notice that now everything goes into this green color, or maybe you want slightly more this sort. Once again, we'll come back here and we'll refresh the page. And we'll see a whole new loading color and whole new action style. And on hover, the icons and the text as well, everything changes and everything becomes the new color, so that you can choose whichever one is your preference. So I'm going to switch it to the slightly darker one now for the rest of the video. Okay, so that's the user interface settings in the app. Now we also have automation settings which change the way automations work. So by default, we show these icons and we don't show a grid on the back. But what you can do is you can actually remove the icons if you want to have less space taken up. So that if you're building more complex and you know what all they mean by the color codes and you don't need to have the actual icons, you can simply remove those icons. And you can also enable a grid background if you want, because this allows you to easily line things up if that's what you want to do. You can put that on as well. So what we'll do is we'll leave the grid, and you can set a default zoom. So you see now it's zoomed right the way in. You can also zoom out if you're happy with it in smaller fonts and you can deal with it smaller. So by creating this, and you can also select the size. Let's have a quick look. So you've got the default, and then you can go even smaller if you want to have less space there, and you can go larger to make them bigger. So what we'll do is we'll now go to an automation now that we've set that, and we're going to see how that looks. Let's just quickly go and, for example, let's just go and look at this one here. On the edit functionality, we'll now see that the automation builder has grids. Its default zoom out is to that point, and we can see the size as well. Let's quickly launch a new from scratch automation to have a quick look at how it looks now. So now we can see this is the current default, and then if we added, let's just add a stop here straight away. Okay, so that's fine. If we wanted to have it looking differently from this, once again in our settings, let's say we want it to be a little bit more zoomed in, and let's say we want to show the icons and we don't want to show the grid. So this is how it comes default. Then when we go back here, if we refresh our automation, you'll see that here's how it looks now. And we can add our stop back again, and then this is how it's going to look. And if we bring this up, you can see how you can zoom in and out from here as well. So this overwrites the settings. Okay, so that's a look at the new UI settings that you now have available to you to customize the account and the automation builder to your liking, including, for example, making the fonts in the tables larger, which is what I'm going to choose to do. I'm going to choose the large setting, but I'm going to leave everything else as it was.